All right, so you've got tomatoes. You've got tomatoes there and box over there. First step is to wash them. All right, so you've got your tomatoes. They're all washed and rinsed off. Next step is to core. Cut the core off the top. Like so. Just like that. You're ready to throw it in the blender. You've got your tomatoes in your blender, and now you blend it up.
And if your blender's like mine, I think the Ninja types work better for this, but this will get
All right, so you've got your tomatoes all blended up as much as you can with the peels, and you just pour it in one of these pressure cookers. Does it need to be a pressure cooker, Mom, or can it just be a pot?
It really would. It's very important to have a thick, like aluminum pan. If you've got a pan that's thin, it's much more likely to burn. And the thing is, you gotta simmer this stuff for hours. So you don't want to have it in a thin pot.
Okay, so a nice thick pot, and Mom said I initially put it on this big burner to match the big pan, but she said to move it to a smaller burner because we don't want it to burn, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we've got the pureed tomatoes in this pot. You don't want it to go too far up because you've got to leave room for the other ingredients. Speaking of which, we've got some fresh basil here that we're going to dice up, chop up.
Just chop it.
Chop it,
it's gonna
but
go through the blender. It's just really a matter of measuring.
it will go through the blender. So, yeah, we'll show you the after effects. Another thing, so when we were measuring it into a different pot, but my mom had me put it back in this pot because this pot is a lot thicker compared to the pot that we were measuring it into, which is a lot thinner. So she said that she's had a lot of experience burning sauces in that one because it's not thick enough. So when canning, use a nice thick pot. All right, so when we measured it, this big pot had about 40 cups worth of tomato puree in it, and then this smaller one had about 22, but we're gonna do all the measurements based on this pot. So one batch will be considered 40 cups. All right, adding the bay leaves.
So you want 6 or 9?
Let's go meet in the middle and do 7.
That's 7.5, but that one's small.
That's okay, great. And we did take out 4 cups of the sauce so that we could blend together like the peppers and the garlic and everything, and then add it back into the pot once we've put all that in.
And the bay leaves you just cook. You just go ahead and simmer them for hours, and I don't take them out until I unbottle it and take them out when I'm ready to make something.
Okay, so you leave the bay leaves in until you are ready to cook something with the sauce. All right, so we're putting in the peppers. We've cut the peppers in half. We're starting off with just 3 of the red bell peppers because they are sizable, and then we'll add another bell pepper if we need it. But we are putting 4 green peppers in. All right, so we just blended up the garlic, the onions, the peppers in that blender, pureed it, and dumped it back into this pot. So now we're mixing it all together. All right, so after adding all the ingredients in this pot, we discovered that I think the oregano, since we used the oregano powder instead of the leaves, it was a little overpowering. So I did end up using 5 more cups of the puree to mix in with this and make it less overpowering. Added a little bit more salt, which will all be in the recipe. But yes, it is coming together. All right, so it has boiled and simmered down. So now it is this consistency. Mom says that she feels like it's ready for some cornstarch, which cornstarch is not on the recipe, but she says at this consistency she would put in like a half cup of cornstarch.
Mix it with water, of course.
So yeah.
Mix it with water so that it doesn't, put it in like that, you'll be clumped. So
Yeah. So you can see the bubbling is bubbling up through that consistency versus this one, which is still bubbling down. That one's still pretty thin. Needs some more time. All right, so after adding 1.5 cups of cornstarch to this, I feel like it's the right consistency. Maybe still a little thin, but Mom says that it will, as it sets in the jar, that some of the water will separate and you can dump that off before you add it to your spaghetti. So I declare this to be done. So now I'm just going to pour this into these jars, get them ready to be canned. All right, so my crazy hair should display how much work this was, but we're done with that pot full of 45 cups worth of tomato puree. There's still that pot I'm still working on, but this is the results. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarts, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pints. That's a lot of spaghetti sauce. All right, you just thought we were getting close to done. So you have to take a clean rag and wipe the rims of each of these jars, put the lids on, and put them in one of these pots, which you put about 4 inches, Mom says. 4 inches worth of water in the bottom. And then after you've wiped down the rims and put the lids on, you put the jars in the pot. And then do you boil it?
Yeah, you're going to bring it to a boil. And actually what you're going to do, because these are only pints, you might not need 4 inches either. The idea is to, when they're in the pot, you fill the water up to about here.
Up to the rim.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we took the first batch out and put them here on the counter. Mom says that it's ideal, if you can, to leave them in the same place for 12 hours and to spread them out like this so that they can cool faster, because when they're hot, it's really easy to break the seal. So we'll let them cool off like that.